Do you want to experience the thrill of a Packers game at Lambeau Field? If so, be sure to get your game tickets from the longtime trusted source in Wisconsin, Ticket King. Visit their locations in Milwaukee and Green Bay, or just go to their website, theticketking.com. Again, that's theticketking.com.
And now, for fans of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, this is Cheesehead TV Live.
Cheetahs don't stretch, and neither do we.
I think you're an idiot. And I mean that with the most respect possible that I can give to an idiot.
Packers Hall of Fame quarterback Jay Cutler.
It's not as fun to say as Equinemius.
That is a perfect example of a wrong opinion. Ring the bell. Welcome back, Packers fans. Yet again, it's a game day edition of Cheesehead TV Live. For those of you checking us out at cheeseheadtv.com and on the chat, good morning. Jason Perona, Jeremy Vanderlinden of Cheesehead TV. Jeremy, happy Sunday, happy game day.
Happy game day. I don't know about you. Don't sound too happy. All right, it could be this.
I'm looking weather. At the inactives list, and I'm still just processing it in my head. So, the inactives just came out, but obviously Packers-Lions, and the Packers are coming off of a big shutout win. They haven't given up any points in 2 weeks, Jeremy.
Yeah. That's pretty great. Okay, so let's just say a couple quick hellos. David Du Bois on the YouTube chat, and I think that's how you say your last name. Gary Beatty said he's got a bad feeling about today.
Dubois.
Could be Dubois. Could be. Okay. Nick, what's up? And we're ready to roll here. The Packers inactives list it looks a little bit like I don't know, a train wreck?
Well, the biggest names on it, obviously, we knew Randall Cobb is out. That was announced earlier this week. But not playing today, cornerback Jair Alexander, safety Jermaine Whitehead, Bashaud Breeland will not make his Packers debut. He is inactive today. And receiver Geronimo Allison is also not playing today. But Kevin King is back. He will play. Devontae Adams is active. He will play today. You still have Aaron Rodgers. You still have that offensive line, Jimmy Graham. And I've seen a lot of tweets and notes about the concern that everybody has about the injuries, but they're kind of forgetting what the Packers almost did when they went to Atlanta a couple of years ago, and they had Jeff Janis, Trevor Davis, and Aaron Rodgers throwing the football, and they almost pulled out a huge road win. So,
all right, so the inactives list is tragic, but so let's get into the offense. We'll dive into that group of receivers.
Offense. Rodgers does this better than anybody. End zone, Cobb, touchdown! Unbelievable!
Randall Cobb will not be active today.
That's right. Cobb will not be playing today, so he's inactive. And on the wide receiver side, obviously, we have Devontae Adams. And then you're going to see a lot of the rookies today. So the big thing that you mentioned that we talked about a little bit before the game, before we get to the rookies, Jeremy, is one of the other obvious things the Packers can do to mitigate some of these losses is – you've already got a hot Aaron Jones in the backfield. Yep. Jamal Williams is running well. So do you move Ty Montgomery out into the slot?
I'm playing him in the slot a lot today. Now, I think now is a good chance for the Packers to show that Ty Montgomery can be the Randall Cobb replacement because they're not going to bring Cobb back next year. So now's the time to try out some of these young guys, and now's the time to try Cobb or Montgomery in that Cobb role. There's no better week than this. That Lions defense isn't exactly something that has me shaking in my boots, and they don't really have to rely on the passing game. So it's not like they're going to need him to do a ton today. They need to run the football against that defense.
So Marquez Valdez-Scantling had a one catch last week. He had the route gaff that he made that led to a near interception that could have been disastrous, but the Packers won handily against the Bills. So we know MVS is going to play today, but it's really more I want to know what you expect to see out of the other two rookies who haven't yet to do anything in live game action for the first time, and that's Jamon Moore and Equinemius St. Brown.
I think Jamon might have had a snap or two last week. I'd have to look it up. I'm not going to do that.
He did.
But MVS had 57 snaps on offense last week, so he's obviously the go-to rookie. And then I was actually surprised to see Jamon get snaps over Equinemius because – Equinemius had been active on game days, and Jamon was not. And then suddenly, Jamon's active and on the field, and Equinemius is still on the sidelines.
Yeah. Well, it's a different skill set and a different type of things that they do for the offense. So I think that therein lies your decisioning. And then also, let's not forget who sets the inactive list, and that's Mike McCarthy. And sometimes his ways are very mysterious. So it's like that U2 song, He Moves in Mysterious Ways, from back in the 90s, dating myself back there. But, I mean, the receivers are going to be important, but I don't think The Lions' defense is giving up 157 yards rushing. It is the worst in the NFL, but it's not just the worst. It's the worst by 16 yards. The next closest team is doing 16 yards better a game than the Lions. So this is a week where if you're going to be thin at receiver, maybe this isn't the worst time to do it, although it is on the road. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers should have to chuck it up 40 times today either.
No, I don't think so. And that kind of leads into this next question from Chris on the YouTube chat. He asked, do you guys think the Packers need to be run heavy today to have a chance?
I think they need to be run heavy just because that's the smart thing to do.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that's – you have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. You can do it either way. I don't think that's the key, but I think it's important.
I think it's stupid not to be. It's not the key, but McCarthy would be an idiot to do anything else.
Right.
Because the Lions' defense is one of the worst against the run, and you have 3 studs in the backfield. All 3 of those guys are playing really well right now. And Aaron Jones, unleash the beast of Aaron Jones. Here's what I want to see today. And this is maybe a pipe dream, but I'd like to see Ty Montgomery in the slot and Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams in the backfield together at the same time. Like, talk about, you want to make matchup issues for a defense, you put all 3 of those guys on the field, Jimmy Graham and Devontae Adams all on the field at the same time. That's overwhelming for a defense, especially a defense who can't stop the run. You're going to have to be considering the run. You're going to have to play guys in the box. You got 3 running backs on the field. One's playing in the slot, but with 3 running backs on the field, you got to be thinking about the run.
Well, the thing about Mike McCarthy, though, is that he loves to be patient, and it's almost to a fault. And so it's frustrating sometimes where the obvious is sitting right there in front of him. We've been talking about it for a week. Run the ball, Aaron Jones. But watch them come out in, 12 personnel. And finally, Mercedes Lewis gets on the field. Well, if Mercedes Lewis is on the field, that's probably good, but it'll be Jamal Williams in the backfield.
Right.
And Lance Kendricks and Mercedes Lewis, and they'll run a dive.
Watch Aaron Jones get like 5 snaps. Get like 5 snaps.
Well, he'll get more than 5.
Right.
He'll definitely get more than 5 snaps. So offensively, though, I mean, obviously keep Rodgers clean, but Rodgers was taken off the injury report. Now, this is kind of a technicality because that doesn't mean he's not dealing with the knee issue. It just means that he's not being listed as the knee is no longer cause for concern for him to play. So I think that's more what that's about. But don't get it twisted. He definitely is still impacted by that, Jeremy. And I don't know what you know about this specifically, but obviously playing on turf can sometimes be a little tougher on the knee.
It can be tougher on the knee. It doesn't move quite like grass because grass under your cleat will tear out, but the fabric of a turf field does not tear apart the same way that grass does, which means it's a little bit stickier. It's like you're working with a little more tread on the wheels, and so it can mess with your joints. It can mess with that kind of thing. So a couple guys working with banged up lower halves today, and Aaron Rodgers obviously the top one on the list, but being on turf is a little concerning for that kind of thing. But I expect for this offense to go through the run today, and those are the healthiest guys on the offense too.
Well, and if you run the ball, your defense is never gassed. Your defense is always fresh, and you've got Tony Brown might play some today at corner. He's going to be up with Alexander out and Whitehead out. Mm-hmm. Those of you and those that wanted to finally see Josh Jones at safety, you're going to get your opportunity. Whitehead is out, so Josh Jones, in theory, is going to take those snaps.
Right.
And if he plays well, according to Mike McCarthy's theory about earning snaps and earning opportunities, then I think maybe Josh Jones finally takes his job back and Whitehead becomes the backup, and we're back to last year.
All right, so offensively, we've talked about it a little bit, what we think they should do. Okay, so what we think they should do. What do you think Mike is going to do with the offense?
He's going to come out in the script. He's going to stick with it. The first 15 plays are going to be scripted. The only thing I ask today, and I know it's a huge ask, is manage the timeouts. Let's maybe have some timeouts at the end of the halves to use when they need to strategically. But I don't want to see this offense have to use early timeouts and have gaffes and substitution problems. And, it's just this patience and let things develop instead of starting fast. I mean, when's the last time the Packers came out and just lit it up early and right away? 2014 was the last time I can remember. It's been a long time.
Yep.
Same head coach, though. Not that you get crazy when you got guys out there that haven't played a ton. I mean, you send out Marquez Valdez-Scantling, or if you've got EQ out there and you send them on a go when they're open, those guys sometimes get very wide-eyed. The lights are bright, and it can be a little bit detrimental. So I can appreciate being patient, but it's simple. Run the ball. run to daylight until you can't, and then throw it because you've got the best thrower in the game.
That's right. All right, so we're going to move on to special teams. But before we do that, I do want to mention we're doing a giveaway during the show today. Before the end of the show, before we do predictions, we will do a drawing for that Leroy Butler 8x10 that we've been showing on our Twitter page. So if you're in the drawing for that, make sure you stick around, and we'll know the winner today. We're also giving away, if you're in Arizona and you don't have a place to go for the game today, get down to Tempe, come to the Watershed. We're giving away an autographed Paul Hornung photo, which is fantastic. It's beautiful. It's great. So
just west of Baseline on McClintock, or just west of McClintock on Baseline, whichever it is.
Yep.
Wait, switch it. Reverse that. Willy Wonka.
Well, look up the Watershed in Tempe, Arizona, and you'll find us. And come on down here. We're giving away this beautiful Paul Hornung photo. We're giving away this Leroy Butler autograph at the end of this show. And that could go to anyone, though. That was a Twitter-based drawing. So anybody out there could win. We'll see who it is. Okay, so let's move on. Let's get to it. Special teams.
Special teams.
This to send the Packers into the NFC Championship game. It is good! The Packers are moving on! And Mason Crosby, a hero for Green Bay.
All right, Jason, so last week we saw Tramon Williams returning punts. With the corner group looking the way that it is and guys keep getting hurt, and you have 3 rookie wide receivers active, do you think about making a change there?
Nope. Mike, I'm coming at it from what is Mike going to do. McCarthy's going to put Tramon back there because he likes to just stick with what he knows. Mm-hmm. The obvious and the logical, I don't know if that's going to prevail here. And the other thing, too, is you have to trust those guys in a game situation not to make good decisions. It's not just hang on to the ball. Obviously, you don't want to fumble the ball, but know where you are in the field and be able to – there's a lot of things to process, and when you're a rookie and it takes time to kind of get all those things together. Where am I on the field? Do I fair catch it? Do I let it bounce? Is it in danger of a touchback versus there's so many things to think about.
Right.
And it's very mental.
I would be in favor if it's Tramon. Nick on the chat says he wants to keep Tramon in there because of his sure hands, and I would be in favor of if he's catching the ball in good field position, just fair catch it, regardless of what's in front of you. Now I know that's not going to happen, but and you can't play scared, but it's really hard for me as a fan to watch the team put a guy out there that they absolutely need on defense on some of the most dangerous plays in football. It's really hard to see that. I don't like it, but I understand it. I wish they could make a change, but I don't know that there's a rookie they can trust right now. We didn't see it in preseason, so unless somebody showed something in practice we don't know about.
Well, the one rookie we could possibly trust is inactive today, and that's Jair Alexander.
Right.
So Tramon Williams will be your punt returner. If he's not, I'll be surprised. This will be Mike McCarthy evolving before our very eyeballs, which would be very shocking to me. But I'm okay with Tramon back there. He's a slower version of what Micah Hyde was. You knew he was a sure-handed guy who was going to make smart decisions, was never going to light up the scoreboard at all, but there's the return games and special teams and the kicking games have changed a lot now with the new rules.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's as much risk of injury. It's more about field position.
Right.
And the Lions are going to be looking to pin the Packers back deep. It's just they're going to have to be smart about what they do. You don't want to start backed up in that loud building and get backed up into your own territory and you have young receivers who aren't used to that. There's a lot of things that could be working against the Packers that could sneak up on them that manifest themselves through special teams.
Right. All right.
One thing I do want to say.
Okay.
Especially for my guy Jacob Westendorf, who's at this game drunk. That's not what I usually say, but Lions kicker Matt Prater is usually the recipient of some of my ire. And ever since he became a Lion, I've been giving it to him hardcore. So I just want you to know that the Packers have the better place kicker today.
All right, so speaking of being at the game, Jason's going to be at the game next week. So no Jason next week. It'll just be me up here, maybe another. That is unconfirmed. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'll be around. But the bar will be open next week for the Monday Night Football game, the Monday Night Tilt against the 49ers. Jason will be in-house in Lambeau Field for that football game, and we'll be here at the Watershed talking Packers and watching the game, so make sure you're here for that. Jason, let's move on. Let's talk a little defense.
Defense. They're down in 17, more pressure, ball is out. Green Bay's got it. Daniels again.
Man, it would be nice to have Mike Daniels recover a fumble or something, man.
Something.
He's been playing such a support role this year with Kenny Clark.
He's due.
Busting at the seams. Yeah,
he's
really
due for something. He's due.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so on defense, big news. The big news is the Packers promoted Tyler Lancaster from the practice squad. They let Darius Jackson go, the running back they just signed a few weeks ago, trying to get some more depth on that defensive line. But the front today, I think, is going to be very important with a couple secondary guys out. So Kenny Clark, Mike Daniels, Dean Lowry doing their thing up front, trying to get some pressure on Stafford. The talk all week has been try to get pressure with four. Jeremy, I don't know. Do you feel good about that? TJ Lang is probably going to miss today. He's in the concussion protocol, and he's not going to be active for Detroit, I don't believe.
They are going to need to get pressure with those guys up front, especially with the defensive back woes that they have right now. But the concern that I have is with the way that Detroit can move the football, like they can move it through the air. They don't run the ball very well, or at least they haven't set up. They don't have a trend of it yet. They have rookie Kerryon Johnson at running back, which they've been trying to cure their issues at the running back position for, it seems like, 35 years. The Lions cannot run the football since Barry Sanders left. So they can move the ball through the air. And so with the corner issues that the Packers have today with injuries, I am concerned about that. So the defensive front is going to need to create some issues. And I think they can, because that offensive line for the Lions, it's not very good. And so if they can create pressure, we'll see some of those Matthew Stafford sidearm interceptions, some of those ridiculous throws that he shouldn't make. He knows he shouldn't make. We all know he shouldn't make. And he does it all the time. So the defense could end up with some turnovers today if those front guys can create a little bit of pressure.
Well, as much as he bugs Packers fans, Golden Tate's an issue. Marvin Jones has had some good games against the Packers, and they're going up against a young secondary. Josh Jackson will be out there. Now you've got Kevin King back, but he's going to be rusty after not playing in 3 games.
Yep.
So it's going to be kind of watch and see what's going to actually happen here, because I could see Detroit trying to take a shot early and get an early lead, take advantage of the secondary not doing what they do.
Right.
The safeties have still been, it's week to week. Last week, Clinton Dix had that great interception on a 50-50 ball. But can he contain these 2 fast receivers and keep everything in front of him, and Kentrell Bryce as well? Do they become victims of this Detroit Lions wide receiver group?
Yeah, I sure hope not. I'm not a big fan of what the Packers have done at safety this year, so I'm not really comfortable with the secondary. But, we'll just see. The Lions are such a weird team where they have talent on offense. They have talent on that football team, and they have for years. They just can't figure out how to win consistently. So I feel like we never know. Going into a Lions game, the Packers play the Lions twice a year, and I feel like we never know what the heck we're going to see from the Lions.
Right.
It's so different every time because they just can't get their crap together.
Right.
They just can't. So
right. Well, they had a big win against the Patriots, their only win of the season. Then they've lost to a rough New York Jets team in the opener, and that didn't go well.
Yep.
And a tough loss last week at Dallas. It was a down to the wire. So they're going to be coming out looking to make a statement here and get themselves back in the conversation. They know this NFC North is competitive. You got the Bears in front, still kind of surprisingly. The Packers lingering around there.
That won't last.
And the Vikings.
Right. It's so early. It feels so definitive. Like things that have happened feel like they're going to affect the entire season. But by the end of the season, we might not be talking about some of them. So
Bears on a bye this week,
right,
so we won't have to listen to any Chicago Bears talk.
Right.
But just for those of you who are wondering out there, I just want to make sure that it's very important that you do know that the Bears do still suck. And we're going to be celebrating that today at the Watershed in Tempe at some point.
Yeah, we will play the Bears still suck. We play it every week. And people always ask for it, so it's happening. David and Nick in the chat mentioned Kyler Fackrell. David says minimum 5 sacks for not Kyler Fackrell, Kyler Sackrell today. 5 sacks.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's a joke, but I do appreciate the humor, and I would love to see that somehow. I would love to see him get 1 sack. I would be pleased to see Kyler Fackrell after last week's game and what he did for the Packers last week. I'd love to see him at least get 1 sack. They do need some guys to step up and create pressure, whereas we think that it should be Nick Perry, but Nick Perry is just so. He's not dependable at all. He's not been very good this season. Kyler Fackrell with 3 sacks last week. I don't know what to make of this Packers outside linebacker group. aside from the fact that Clay Matthews seems to be having a good year, penalties aside, who would step up? If it's
Reggie
not
Gilbert.
Kyler Fackrell.
It's got to be Reggie Gilbert. Reggie Gilbert's actually a captain today. So he's one of today's captains. So Reggie Gilbert's got to step up, and I want to see him make an impact. He had a sack last week, but that was Josh Allen falling into him, and then he roughed Reggie Gilbert to the ground. He fell on top of him with all of his body weight, so Josh Allen should have been flagged for that, but he wasn't. And that's because they've changed how the rules are being called. But Reggie Gilbert's got to step up. This group is thin. They've been thin from the beginning. The Packers have decided that they were going to go with a lesser outside linebacker group and stack some other positions. So you've got to then get production from the guys that you have.
Right.
Fackrell actually does need to play today. Like if he gets a sack today, it's important when he's in there and he's rotating in there that he's effective.
Right.
In the middle, Blake Martinez. You mentioned the outside linebackers, but Oren Burks, I am really he's going to have a breakout game, and I'm really excited for when it happens because he's so athletic and he's so smart that I think once he has a game like that, Jeremy, he could be the kind of guy, and just tell me what your thoughts are, who doesn't look back, and then he's a stud on his defense from that point.
Right, takes off. Don't be surprised if today he gets one of those sidearm throws thrown his way and picks it off. He is an athletic freak, but he's also really smart.
Right.
And that's the thing that I like about
yes,
Oren Burks.
yes.
He's got the brain to do it. And that is one of the biggest keys to playing football in the NFL. How smart are you? Can you handle the mental side of the game? You don't necessarily have to be the most physically talented, but if you can combine those two things, the brain to play football and the physical talent, you will be a stud. And I think Oren Burks has a chance to be that. So we'll see some chances for him today. I think Stafford's going to throw the football in some funny ways like he always does. And so somebody's going to get a shot at an interception. And why not Oren Burks?
Yes, no, totally agree. So a couple things on that topic. And with regards to the team, earlier we talked about Randall Cobb. And there's a lot of season left, and he's still ours for 2018.
Right.
But you said he's not back next year. But do you think it's possible that the Packers maybe have learned from Jordy moving on, and maybe they still believe in what they did?
I do.
And they don't at least try to have more of a conversation with Cobb, or do you think it's the same?
No,
Brian Gutekunst, Russ Ball, here's the deal. If you want to take it, if not, good luck.
Man, they drafted 3 receivers last year. I think
mid-round, though.
I don't care. I think that ship has sailed. I think this will be the last season we see Randall Cobb. And I think the Packers are going to move on this offseason because they drafted 3 receivers. They got Ty Montgomery, who's a running back. Question mark? They can move him into that slot position. He can play that Randall Cobb role really well. And not to mention, we can't forget to mention, Equanimeous St. Brown was quite good in the slot in the preseason. Now, he's not the same player as Randall Cobb, but if you could put a big-body guy like that in the slot, like look at what Larry Fitzgerald has done for the Cardinals in the slot. It's been great. Now, I'm not saying Equanimeous is Larry Fitzgerald, but what I am saying is the big body in the slot can be a positive thing, and I think the Packers are probably moving on from Cobb after this.
No, but if you put a guy out there and he has a good game, he gains some confidence, that could be something that, like we said with Oren Burks, he plays well. He's like, yeah, I belong. I can play in this league, and he never looks back, and he becomes an integral part of the offense. Because not to compare the 2 receivers, because everyone seems to get so sensitive when you mention a former All-Pro or a former Pro Bowl or great.
Yeah.
Donald Driver wasn't great when he first started. He had to become good.
And he was, a 7th-round pick?
He was a 7th rounder, and then he became great. So don't at me and talk about how Equanimeous St. Brown is not Donald Driver. I know that. But
we understand
it's
that.
a point of reference.
But he could be.
Yes.
And we don't know that yet. He could be, and we don't know that yet. He could have his moment and take off. I believe in Equanimeous. I think he's going to be a good receiver in the NFL. But it remains to be seen. The Packers need to give him his opportunity. He hasn't even really seen the field yet this year at receiver, so it's going to take some time. He was a guy that we knew was talented but raw and needed time to develop. So today could be the day. They're going to have to use some rookies today at receiver. Today could be the day.
They're going to have to use rookies a lot today, but they've come through and played well on the defensive side so far, so I have no worries about that at all. So shall we call this one?
Yeah, let's call it. Okay, before we do that, I just want to say thank you to everybody at the Watershed. Thank you for everybody listening online. Just want to give you a little, let's see if I could find it. I'll give you a little highlights of what you missed in the Fox pregame show. Colin Cowherd is talking about the Khalil Mack trade. So that's happening 4 weeks into the season. What, 5 weeks? Is this week 5?
Yes.
Long enough into the season that we shouldn't be talking about it. And Terry Bradshaw is saying that Aaron Rodgers is, let's see if I could, Terry Bradshaw just called out Aaron Rodgers for being jealous of other quarterbacks for doing well so far this season. And then Rodgers wishes he were Mahomes.
No, he doesn't.
What is happening on the Fox pregame show? Are those guys doing crack?
It's Fox,
what?
and they're just it's clickbait. They need traffic, so it's
unbelievable.
Aaron Rodgers, if you've paid attention at all through the 13 years that he's been with this organization, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be a single other person besides himself. I'm not saying he's selfish or he's got an ego.
Right.
He does. But Aaron Rodgers is perfectly comfortable and fine with what he's got. I mean, who's Patrick Mahomes dating? Aaron Rodgers has Danica Patrick. You really think he wants to be Patrick Mahomes?
Good point. Okay. David says in the chat, Donald Driver's smile cures cancer. All right, David's rolling in the chat today. He's
that's
throwing out Kyler Sackrell and cancer cures.
Yeah, wow. If only that were true.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, let's do this drawing real quick. We're going to give away this Leroy Butler 8x10 that we have on our Twitter account. I forgot to bring it to the bar today, and somebody in the bar could win it today, but I forgot to bring it into the bar, so we will get it to you. If you win it and you're in the bar today, I'll get it to you between now and next week. I have it. It's at my house. It is gorgeous. It's beautiful. All right, let's do this drawing. You ready for this?
Drum roll.
And the winner is Juenzor, at Juenzor on Twitter. I think I'm saying that right, but I'll look it up and I'll make sure I tweet at you. If you're in the bar, come up and say hi after the show. We will make sure we reach out to the winner and give that get that Leroy Butler 8x10 to you. Thank you so much for everybody who was in on that contest. We'll be doing more drawings with the Cheesehead TV Live Twitter account. So you should follow at CHTV Live on Twitter. Make sure you're following that. We'll do more giveaways throughout the season. So make sure you're following at CHTV Live. I can't say it.
You got that?
CHTV Live. Okay.
At Jeremy RVDL.
That's me.
And at Jason Perrone for myself on Twitter.
Yep.
I will not be here next week on game day. I will be in the house at Lambeau Field making a lot of noise on defense and not sitting while we're on defense and not doing the wave while we're on offense, by the way.
Never do the wave.
But we will have our regularly scheduled show this week. Come and check us out. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, Wednesday night at Cheesehead TV. Come listen to the show live. We'll be breaking down the Lions game and looking ahead to the San Francisco 49ers Monday nighter at Lambeau Field.
All right, Jason, prediction. How's this game going to go?
Packers in a squeaker. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to come down to. It's going to be less than a field goal. I could see 24-23 playing out. Might even be some more points than that with some of the outages the Packers have on defense. But I think it's going to be a squeaker, and it's going to be a 1-point win for the Pack.
I think it'll be close too, but I'm going to call it a little bit of a lower scoring game just because the Packers are going to run the ball a lot. I hope McCarthy should do what's logical here. They should run the ball a lot today and grind out the clock. So I'm going to call it Packers win. It's going to be 17-14 Packers. I mean, the Lions could jump up and win this game. Like I said, we don't ever know what we're going to see with the Lions. They could jump up and take it, but I'm still picking the Packers. In any game that's potentially close, I will always take the Packers because they always have a chance, and there's no reason to bet against the Green Bay Packers against the Detroit Lions this season. All right, so before we go, I want to throw this out there. You can call our voicemail. The phone number is 920-395-9030. You give us a call. Let us know how you're feeling during, after, whenever, during the game, after the game, whenever you'd like to. Give us a call, and we will feature your phone call on the show. That is if you keep it semi-appropriate. Keep it family-friendly.
Correct.
So 920.
Well, you got the beep button.
Yeah, that's true. I could beep it.
All right.
920-395-9030. You can also text that phone number. If you want to connect with us and you don't have Twitter, that is a good way to do it. So you can connect with us there. All right. Jason, you got anything to say?
Get over to Cheesehead TV and follow the live game day chat. Get in on it. Be a part of it.
Yep.
And, of course, this has been another edition of Cheesehead TV Live Game Day. Go Pack, go.
Thank you for listening to Cheesehead TV Live. Check out cheeseheadtv.com for more great Packers content.